Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm not going to be creating anything like we did in the previous videos, but I am going to be showing you what I've created over the last year while I've been doing clay sculpting on and off. Majority of the pieces are made using Das clay, which I showed you in previous videos. One of them I did use a polymer clay which I got off eBay, and I'll show you that when we get to that piece. If you do like any of the sculptures, please let me know, and it'll let me know what kind of thing you'd like to do in the future. Before we go ahead and do the first piece, if you do like this video, please give it a thumbs up, click the notification bell so you are aware of when the next video is up and running, and please press subscribe. Okay guys, so let's get on to the first piece. Okay guys, so the first video that we have is my first ever piece, which was a fairy house. This was created using Das clay and also a mason jar. As you can see, basically it was created so you could put a LED tea light underneath and it would shine through the door, the windows that are on each side, and also above, a bit like a chimney. It was the first time I'd ever used Das clay. I found it really easy. Das clay, I find, for me personally, doesn't crack, doesn't shrink, and the one thing I did like about this was I quite enjoyed doing the texture on the wooden door, which I was pretty proud of, and I think this was used using just normal like acrylic paint, but we're not talking like artist paint, basically the craft paint you get from like your typical children's stores or pound shops, that kind of thing. Like I said, very simple colouring, greys, browns, very, very, very simple. Okay guys, I'm trying to get this in shot. This was my second ever attempt at making a model. Again, this was made using a mason jar, but a much bigger one. Not an expensive mason jar. It was basically, I just used an old, well, we had bolognese, and I cleaned the jar out and reused it. Again, used Das clay. Very, very simple. This one was an old piece because I wanted this to basically use for storage. Hence the reason the lid does come off. So with this piece, aluminium foil was used to create the roof, and then Das clay was placed all over it, and then added these parts to give it a kind of a thatch, is it a thatch roof? I'm not sure, or like a stone roof. And that's obviously just your normal lid that came with it. And then if we have a look inside, again, the only thing that was at the bottom, I don't know if you can see that right, is the aluminium foil which created this shape here. Okay. Then what I did was, with this one, this was the first time that I did use proper acrylic paints, artist paints, and kept it simple, just like a plain colour. I wasn't very good at like 3Ding or, you know, shades or anything like that. Again, very similar to the last one, wooden effects, pebbles around the door, the windows. This time, because it wasn't used for a candle, it is basically a blacked out window. Again, all clay. And then gave it a bit of a pattern using the Das clay, making a tree and texturizing, giving it kind of a bubbled effect for leaves. One part that I am pretty proud of is the base, which again is rolled up pieces of Das clay, which were just added on while they were still wet. so they all stuck together. And then what I did was I went and ordered off eBay just some, I don't know what this is called really, but it's used in scenic dioramas. And it's basically like, I just created sort of like edgings and things like that. The one thing I don't like about this one is that it does kind of fall apart, these parts, you know, the dioramas. And I think the reason for that is I did varnish the piece and then I added these on later, and obviously I didn't have any spray varnish, so they're just stuck on with just plain glue, so there's nothing over the top. So obviously if it gets knocked, they're going to fall to pieces, unfortunately. Okay guys, so for number 3 I'm having to hold the camera because my tripod doesn't come out this far. This was my, which one we're on? Number 3 piece, and obviously as you can tell this was done round Halloween, hence the pumpkin. And what I like about this, and I do want to give her a shout out, this was basically done after watching Creative Mum on YouTube. And what she does is she takes recycled bottles and then creates, well, she creates awesomeness. I will put a link in the description and you guys can have a look, but she's fantastic. She's such an inspiration. So, like I said, this was made using Das clay, obviously, and that inside, which way am I going, is actually a Coke bottle. Okay, so it's a normal Coke bottle. Sorry. This here is the top half, and then I cut the bottom, turned it upside down. I don't know if you can tell with the lumps here that this is like the bottom of a bottle upside down. We then put foil around the base. Okay, that's just to stop it from, as you move it on anything, it'll stop that horrible screeching noise. I then added a bit of wire and then covered with aluminium foil to create this. Now, to get this shape, I didn't have to do anything because obviously the bottom of the bottle was a perfect shape. With these here, I basically used aluminium foil to create the shape and used my glue gun just to stick them on, and then obviously covered them with Das clay. The mushroom tops, as you can see, was created with basically just aluminium foil stuck on using glue gun. This here is also just a piece of aluminium foil stuck on and then clayed over. So it is pretty simple, and it's recycling, which is a bonus. So this was painted using acrylic paints. Now with this one, I thought, you know, I'm going to give it a bit of a go texturizing and shading, and I think it went all right. I mean, obviously under here, I don't know if you see because the light's terrible in this room at the minute, is like mushrooms, it's like lighter here, and then underneath it gets a bit darker. And then what I attempted to do for the first time after watching Creative Mum is I tried to do a bit of dry painting. So then what I did was, after this, I used a polyurethane varnish. And I didn't buy, you know, the expensive things from the craft stores. I basically went to the DIY store and got a polyurethane clear varnish. So guys, so that is number 3, I think it was. And my Halloween toadstool fairy house. So guys, this is number 4, I think we're on now. And this was my first attempt at doing something completely different. My partner is a big fan of dragons, so I really wanted to do something for him. It partially went right, it partially went wrong. Now, what it is, this was created using, weirdly, you can see it's hollow inside, I actually used a for the armature to create the shape, a hamster ball, and I covered the hamster ball in cling film so it wouldn't stick. Das clayed over the top, waited for that to dry, and then obviously once it had dried, I took the hamster ball out and the cling film. I then proceeded to texturize first all this section here with different bubbles because I wanted it to kind of add a like an egg effect, maybe. I mean, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I kind of just went on this one at a whim. Then I went to do the dragon. Now, to be honest, I actually was pretty proud of myself when it came to the dragon. What I did was I did the general shape using aluminium foil, glued on with a glue gun, and then Das clayed over top. As you can tell, big fan of Das clay. And then I think what it was, when it came to the wings, I think I did that many attempts. It kind of just went wrong. Every time I tried to do wings, it went wrong. With just the dragon / lizard on top, it didn't look right. It looked incomplete. So then I did add an extra layer. And I thought, well, it's supposed to be like earth and grass. And so I thought I would do these leaves. Very simple to do. But the painting of them turned out to be quite difficult, trying to get all underneath and everything, because I don't like to see anything unpainted. And again, I just used different basics: greens, golds, browns. That was the general overall acrylic paint. This dragon and the base was varnished using the polyurethane. I still didn't get around to doing this, and it's the reason why this looks more matted and rough compared to these, which are a lot smoother with the fact that it has the polyurethane on it. Okay, guys, number 5, for anybody that's a fan of Futurama, is Bender the robot. Again, I did this one for my partner. He's a big fan of Futurama, and his favourite character is Bender. And originally, I will admit, I did want to do a figurine of Bender, and this was before I properly learned how to use wire and how to do armatures correctly, and I could not do the legs to save my life. So instead, I decided to get a mason jar, cover it in Das clay, do the is it Planet Express symbol? I think it is. So it cuts out, and instead of it being like a tea light holder, it actually is, and it does open up, a sweet holder. So it's a sweet jar, basically. Okay. So yeah, it's a sweet jar. And then what I decided to do was, just put that back on correctly. I decided to do a body of Bender with his arms and just the face, which I think turned out to look a bit like Wallace and Gromit. What do you think? I think it did. It was quite funny. So yeah, I did like this one, actually. I mean, he does want more, so my partner was happy. It's a shame I couldn't do the figurine like I wanted to, but my partner likes Futurama, he likes sweets, so it's a win and a win. So let's get on to the next one. Okay, guys, I hope you can see this tiny fellow. Here it is. I present to you The Death of Rats from Terry Pratchett. Again, this was done for my partner. He's a big fan of Discworld by Terry Pratchett, and he wanted me to make him, well, he first of all wanted me to make him Death, you know, the Grim Reaper, and I did attempt, but I cannot do facial features to save my life. So I decided to do the death of rats instead. So let's pick you up so you can see him a bit closer. Sorry for the shaky camera. Okay, so this little guy is not, believe it or not, made out of Das clay. Instead, I made him out of this clay, polymer clay that I got off eBay. I think I paid something like £5 or £6, and I got about 36 of these along with some tools. And obviously I mixed the colours up, and then painted him, but because you do get quite a few different colours and things like that. And to be honest, it was my first ever time using polymer clay. All I'm going to say is it was easy to use, as in cutting and everything. I found texturizing much more difficult, but it held better. Like, for example, this bit here, basically I just cut a triangle out, put it over, tucked it under his jaw, and then just brought it out. Now, if that had been done in air dry clay, this would have flopped during the drying process. I found that the polymer clay tends to hold its shape a little better before it's cured. I mean, overall, I am happy with him. I love the fact that I could make a scythe. The scythe was made separately. That in air dry clay would, without using like any wire, would have been, for me, it might not be for anybody, but it would be very difficult. And yeah, I did find as well that this polymer clay was bad with fingerprints. So, and I didn't know until recently that you can get, you can either use like rubbing alcohol to rub them off, or clay softener. Obviously I know for next time. I couldn't do a proper skull, so what I did was I painted it all white, and then basically just did like a grey to highlight the sections that would be darkened. His blue eye, which is what he has on the in Terry Pratchett's books and films. There's his tail. I did love the fact that I could do this with the robe. This little guy was made using the armature of foil as well. So he basically a tube of foil to make the body, then just covered in black clay. The head was shaped in general shape and then covered, and then, but yeah, basically then made him a little base to go on. And yeah, he's pretty cute. So he was my first ever attempt at polymer clay, and he kind of went pretty well. I am going to be using polymer clay again. I have actually recently bought, if I can just get it, some original sculptor. Like I said, this was an eBay purchase. As you can see, this is brand. I have no idea what this is going to turn out like. If any of you guys have used this and give me any, any tips, or let me know how it goes for you. So yeah, so there's the death of rats and his little scythe. He's so damn cute. Okay guys, so now we are on to second to last. So let's get on to the next one. Okay guys, I'm not going to hang around too much on this one. It's the fairy house that we made in the previous videos. You all know, basically, it was made using a cardboard base, a mason jar, some foil to give it a general shape. The lid was then added with foil, and basically it lights up. Again, use Das clay. As you guys know as well, this, instead of acrylic paints, I tried my first attempt at watercolour. Not impressed. It didn't go too well. Now it's fully dry. When you guys saw it last, it was still a little bit wet. I think my favourite part is the just the bottom sections really. I'm not too happy with the roof. So yeah, obviously if you want to know more about this, you can watch previous videos where I did a 3-part series on how to create a simple fairy house that lights up. Okay, now guys, we're on to the final one. Okay guys, so sorry about the shaky camera, I am holding this one. Now this is my first ever commissioned piece. My partner was asked by someone he works with if I could do a dragon sculpture based on I hope I'm saying this right, Medea from Dark Souls 3. Big, humongous dragon, as far as I can tell. Not into the game myself, had to Google it. So basically, I did kind of my own version of it. It was pretty difficult. First ever time I've been asked to make anything for anybody. This was done on an MDF board, and then basically the general shape of the dragon was created using aluminium foil, just getting the overall kind of the shape here going up. And then I waited to add the wings. The wings were created using armature wire, aluminium wire, then some foil. And then, I mean, the wings are extremely delicate. Not happy with the wings. They are, I think, the worst part of this sculpture. It does have 4 sets of wings. Okay, and then what I did was, I thought, well, just the dragon on its own on a piece of board doesn't look right. And so I decided to add, and this is actually real quartz crystal. And it's actually from Scotland, the Scottish Highlands. We went to Scotland quite a few years ago, and we actually found a place that had quartz crystals in the ground, and we brought some home. So these are actually pure quartz crystals from the Scottish Highlands. And I thought, well, looking at the pictures on Google of this Medea, he has like quartz crystals in his wings and things like that. But I thought, well, not sure if I could manage that, but I can certainly put some on the floor. And then what I did was, these here are just foil, and is it stellulites or stagnamites? I don't know the difference. I wasn't very good at geology at school. But yeah, these were just made using foil and then covered in Das clay. And then I kept it really rough. I didn't smooth it out, really went rough with it, because obviously I wanted to have like a rock texture. Added smallest amount of clay here just to give the floor a bit of texture, because it would have ended up quite smooth like this one here. So, but I didn't want that near the face. I wanted a bit more rougher. The problem you have with doing it that thin is that sometimes as it dries, it can like pull off the board. Luckily, it didn't happen. Win-win. I then went ahead and also added bits of Das clay around the base of the quartz and built it up into the quartz crystals. So basically the quartz wasn't just like sat there, looking really odd on its own next to these these homemade rocks. It's as if it's built into the floor and they're coming out. There you go, have a look at that one. See what I mean? Okay. The dragon, like I said, was made out of Das clay. These eyes, I didn't make these eyes. I actually got these eyes off of Wish, wish.com, and they were going for free with £2 shipping. And so I thought, yeah, I'm going to give them a go. I mean, you do run the risk that you might not get a pair. Fortunately, I did get a pair, and it turned out that the pair was really good colouring. Okay, so I'm pretty proud with this one, actually, because, I mean, I love his horns, his face. I decided to do him laying down because I haven't done a figure that's stood up yet. I'm not at that level. But like I said, the wings I'm not too happy with. They were very difficult. These nodules on his tail. When it comes to painting, what I did acrylics, all black to start with. And then basically I did some browns and then dry painted with some whites and a bit more black to get this effect, which I think actually turned out pretty damn well, especially when you look at that floor. I mean, I'm really sorry for the shaky camera, guys. I'm not very good at holding these. But yeah, I was pretty impressed with the rocks. I mean, I know it's bad that the floor is my favourite part. But yeah, check that out. Okay. And then when it came to the dragon, again, I did black. I did the same effect as this, but without the brown. It has more the black, silvers. There is a slight, you can't really see it on the camera. There is a slight tint of blue in the wings. That's because apparently, looking at the Google pictures, he has quartz in, like blue quartz. So I gave it a bit of that. I mean, I did put more silver on originally, like on these rims going up, but it just didn't look right. So I went back to this. Because I think like this Medea's supposed to like meld in with his, like camouflage into his like, you know, background. So, and then I love the fact that he's resting his tail on the quartz crystal. So yeah. But what do you guys think? Do you think it turned out all right? I mean, the person who's purchasing it seems to like the pictures that's been sent, so hopefully he'll be happy when he sees it. My first ever commission piece. So guys, so I hope you like this video, showing you all the pieces that I've made in the past and obviously present. And I will see you in the next video. Have a great day, guys. See you next time.